U.S., correct?
Yep. All right, folks, we are here. We are live. Kedrick Prince, Mike Kegley, Illini Guys halftime live. And Ked, I don't know that I've seen many games start off as slow and as I don't know, just a really hesitant start by the Illini. Obviously, without Kasparis, but boy, they turned it on and turned this game into a one-sided affair.
Mike, they did that really quick. And welcome to Illinois basketball, Ben Humrick House. What you saw on the West Coast, you saw him start to figure it out. And tonight you saw him I'm going to just call a spade a spade. He single handedly has kept Illinois in the game. He is shooting extremely well from the field. Right now, he's 5 for 9 from three. But here's a concern: the rest of the team, they're 1 for 12. The only other three made in that first half was made by Trey White, and they've had some really, really good looks. You know, Ben Gibbs Lawhorn has some good looks. Jake Davis has some really good looks. Kylan Boswell, they're just not knocking them down. If you knock down half of those or a quarter of those, I mean, this is a 30-point game. So that's my concern right now, is the rest of the team is 1 for 12. But again, welcome to Illinois basketball, Ben Humrick House.
Yeah, we all have been saying that, you know, given time, he will, you know, turn on the Jets, and it's good to see him playing well. And I have to really say, I really like Ace Baldwin, but this is as bad a game as I've ever seen him play. He can't hit the broadside of the barn, and I'm not certain who is less confident of their shot, Baldwin or Will Riley.
Well, Will Riley's shots have a chance to go in. I mean, they look like they're going to go in. He has not changed his shooting form. This kid just needs a couple to go down. Ace Baldwin, he is short arming the basketball. When he shoots it, it doesn't look like there's a chance in hell it's going to go in. Right now, Will just needs a couple to go down. I know some of the fans appear to be frustrated with him, but he's not playing bad. The shots just aren't falling. Here's the deal. If you are an Illinois fan and you watch the games, this is the same thing Kedrick, along with most of the other people, were saying about Ben Humrick House. If Ben wasn't playing right now, this game would be a lot closer. You got to stay with him. You got to give him minutes, and you don't want to ruin his confidence. I know a lot of people were freaking out because Brad didn't start Draven Gibbs Lawhorn, which I probably would have as well. But on the flip side of it, he probably did it to give to give Will Riley some confidence, because they're going to need him. Look at how well they're playing right now. And when they're all clicking, this is one of the best teams, because you've not gotten anything, from my personal opinion, from Ivica. Yeah. He hasn't scored a field goal yet. So when this team is clicking, just think about when they're all playing well and you're not playing with KJ, how good this team really can be. This is why people across the country, Mike, thinks Illinois is one of the best teams in college basketball. You got Will Riley 0 for 4. And then we're talking about Ivica, but our guy, Morez Johnson, stepped up 8 points, 3 for 3 from the field.
And 2 for 2 from the free throw line. And people talk a lot about at the end of the game, with his capabilities on defense and rebounding, it would be nice to be able to get him in there, but he's got to be able to knock down the free throws. And he had a big smile on his face when he went 2 for 2. I think there's nothing better than putting some practice behind something and then making it work in front of a full crowd.
Yeah, Mike, I wonder if they practice free throws during practice. I mean, that's, what a noble thought, but being sarcastic here, it's really, really good to see him get some confidence. I'm just waiting for that one game, and I pray that it happens where all 7 or 8 of those guys just come out and just lay the wood to someone, because it's going to happen soon. You can just clearly see it right now that it's going to evolve here real soon.
Hopefully that'll be in the NCAA championship game this year when they all click like that, and we get to watch them cut down nets, in San Antonio. As we look at this, I think Ivica didn't shoot particularly well. There is some concern. Maybe he's got a little bit of an injury or a little bit of fatigue. Nobody really knows, but definitely something there. And then with KJ, apparently issue with left forearm, and hopefully this is just a preventative that they felt like they could get by this game without without having any issues, and just giving him a rest as a just in case measure.
Well, whether it's his forearm, his pinky toe, or one of his eyelashes, if there's a kid that needs a break, Mike, it's him. That kid logged a lot of minutes, and I think it's good. And no disrespect to Penn State, they're not playing well right now, and I'm kind of surprised they did it this game because there's no easy nights in the Big Ten. Considering Penn State has owned Illinois, they've won 4 straight and 10 out of the last 14 against the Illini. But I guess it's nice to give them a break, and maybe Beasley is going to need that same thing because both of those guys have logged a lot of minutes, and down the stretch, it can make a difference because the Beasley is not the same player we saw the first 6-7 games of the season. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah. And the only thing I thought was surprising is Booth didn't make it in a half like this.
So am I, but hopefully the second half they can get him in. I mean, because you brought him in. He has a lot of talent, but he's the odd man out right now. I mean, we can clearly see that, but maybe in the second half they can continue to get this lead. That's great. But I also, and I've said this, I've done a lot of podcasts, I think the most athletic person on this team has to be Draymond Gibbs-Lawhorn. I'm not saying he's the best three-point shooter, ball handler, whatever, but that block he just had, they list him at 6'1". There's no way he's 6'1", okay? I'm 6'2", and I know darn well he's not 6'1". That kid can get out of the gym, and he blocks shots, and he's going to challenge anybody. He's just a freak athlete, and it's nice to have that. It's like Morez Johnson gives them something different. He's a strong, big, old-school type of basketball player that doesn't fit what the starters are, but it gives Illinois a different look if they need to change things. And so I like this roster. It's starting to grow on me. During the preseason, it was great. Now you see it, Mike, is starting to gel, and Coach Underwood saw the writing on the wall, and now we can all see what's happening at the end.
Yeah, and I know that there's there's a lot of folks who are wanting to call us out, although I guess I don't know that I would say it's reactive. That I think it's fair to say maybe a guy needs to play less minutes until he plays better, but maybe that's a little too esoteric for some people. But I don't necessarily think you were out of rights, and I also think that Rickhouse is playing better, and if you want to play better, you get results.
Mike, so here's why Frank is saying that. On my Twitter feed, I just basically put my foot in my mouth and said, shut up, because Ben has silenced Mr. Kedrick E. Prince, because I have not been critical, but I want to see what they're talking about. And you know me, Mike, I'm an honest guy. And so I'm not going to get on this podcast and say, I told you so. And, it was great, because I was. And so Mr. Ben Rickhouse Kedrick has silenced himself. You have proven to me, not that you have to, that this is what the coaches saw and the NBA scouts saw in you early on. So regardless of what it is, Frank, you're right. Keep it up.
Yeah. It seems to be a group thought out there. And then, like I said, I think again, just like Rickhouse, I mean, Will Riley just needs to play, keep playing and somehow get some confidence so that he can play better. It's easy for us to say when he's the one struggling a little bit. And let's face it, as good as he is, he probably hasn't struggled more than a game or two and gets right back on track. And now the competition's a little better, and you can't let it get in your head. And I think it takes time to fight your way through these things.
Mike, here's what I want to say, and this is, lay all jokes aside. He started off the season great, but as a coach, I've said it before, get him an easy basket. He went to the rim one time, and he finessed it. That's the same thing he did at Northwestern. If you remember late in the Northwestern game, he had a reverse layup. This was the same situation. If you go up strong and dunk the basketball, guess what? You're shooting free throws. That's the part of his game that I think he needs to reevaluate and just say, hey, this isn't high school. And if I go up and dunk it, either they block it or they call a foul. But you can't go up and think, oh, I'm gonna bring him back and I'm gonna do an under the scoop and blah blah blah. That doesn't work at this level. It just doesn't. And he's good enough, because think how many times he's blown by his defender. Get to the rim, go up and dunk it, and or get a foul.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and you know that once you start going up for a layup and you start leaning in the other direction and looking at the ref, you're never going to get a call.
No.
And you know, Will Riley was always the guy who got all the calls. He's got to learn what it's like when you're trying to be the guy, you know, getting it. Yeah, and you know, there's a little bit of fan coming back here, you know, so there's some people that are there, and
thank you, Frank.
Yeah, and then Eric Goldstein, I thought for a second he might have been kidnapped because Illinois had great looks from the three. I don't know what they did, but later on he did post, so he's okay. I was worried that mid post we had a heart attack or something there. And Will does actually, he can dunk, and I think he's relatively explosive. I'm not saying he's a DGL, but he's a good athlete.
He really is, and we've seen him do it. This is why I think right now it's in his head. It gets a couple threes to go down, but just go up, even if he misses it. With these Big Ten officials, sorry, if you go up and dunk it and they even swipe at the ball, they're going to call a foul anyway. Give yourself a chance, and I would give kudos to the coaching staff. The one thing I've noticed about Will Riley now, he's not kicking his legs out. They've focused on him going up, just shooting the basketball and getting the end result. So, I mean, people who say this group doesn't coach and they don't see the same things we do, I've not seen him kick his legs out, go right or left once this whole first half. So he'll be okay.
Look, it's okay to disagree with the coach, but I do like the people who are just certain that they know more than Brad Underwood with what he's done at Illinois the last 5 years. Again, we disagree with coaches all the time, and obviously you and I helped get Morez and Tomislav to play together with all of our whining and belly aching. But fact of the matter is we know we don't know as much as the Illinois coaching staff.
Speak for yourself, man. I know a little bit.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, folks. When it was, I don't know, 7-2 or whatever it was, and Illinois was down, I was like, oh boy, Penn State's hocus pocus has got them in a funk. And then this thing turned all the way around. And again, I feel sorry for this coach because Ace Baldwin was a heck of a player last time I saw him play, and he looks like he's never played before. So when the guy you're building the team around literally cannot hit the broadside of a barn, it's got to be a really scary moment for you as a head coach.
Not only that, but I will tell you this: it was a great first half. You know, Illinois is up 45-21, but I'm going to tell you, I've seen stranger things happen. Remember what I just said to you. The rest of the team, I believe, is 1 of 11 or 1 of 12 from 3. If Mr. Humrickhouse doesn't stay on fire, somebody else better start making baskets because Penn State, they do turn people over. They do defend well, and you get a couple threes to go down with their eyes closed, the game is going to change. We saw the same thing happen at Washington. So, you know, start the car up. If you got a stick shift, put it in fifth gear and finish it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's kind of the way, you know, you look at it. And again, I think the interesting thing in this one is can you get, you know, can they run a couple sets for Will and personally get him on a guard and lob it into him, let him get a dunk or two and get some confidence going. And then, you know, shoot the three a little bit. Also, I wouldn't mind them, you know, again, if you get Booth in there, you get some guys some looks and get them feeling better. This is a perfect time to do it because that USC team may not be a great team, but that's a big team. And if you're not playing well, they can reach up and bite you pretty good.
I watched them. They challenged Indiana early tonight as well. I think if it was on a neutral quarter and USC, Indiana might have had the L tonight. But I'll tell you another thing before the game's second half starts, Mike. If you're not going to draw a layup or get a foul for Will Riley right away, do what Brendan Rickhouse did. He's got some booty ball action going. Let him back his man down there and shoot over the top of him or convert a foul or get to the free throw line. There are ways to get him baskets. I would single-handedly isolate him and get him going. I would force him to score or get fouled. That is a way to get him going and to get his confidence because once he gets a couple to go down, watch the bench. Watch the reaction from the coaches when, his next 3-point shot or his next basket. They're all pulling for him. So this is great. He's going to be fine. Like I said earlier, you've seen Ben go through this, so he'll get it going.
Yeah, I agree. And yes, we do agree with Taterhead. We've been huge Morez Johnson Jr. fans, and to be honest, again, Ked and I we were putting him in the top 25 recruits his back in 2021 when everybody else was in love with other players on the court. We could see the difference between Morez and guys that were ranked ahead of him. So we were the first guys on that train, I think, with Morez. So it's great to see him doing well. So, folks, they are about to get back to the game. We will be back. It will be a few minutes after the game, like 15 minutes after the game. We want to give a little bit of time for Brad to get there and Brad to get on. He's going to be doing the post game. He won't be on at 15 after, but Ked and I will go for a few minutes, and then Brad will jump on. Until then, folks, go Illini.